When the calendars show June 25th, an invisible vibration begins to vibrate across the globe, as if an ancient call of the universe echoes your name. Today is no ordinary day. It marks a great gathering, a rewriting of the entire cosmic order, a gathering of forces behind the scenes. Your energy is felt even in cities you have never known, in distant lands. As souls unwittingly heed this call, you rise as a harbinger of a new beginning. This date is the gateway to a destiny prepared for you. On June 25th, the first step of global awakening is being taken with your light. Nothing will ever be the same again. Write 444 in the comments now, because the world is being reshaped by your presence. Life is a lot like a seed planted deep in the earth. At first, nobody notices the work going on beneath the soil. There's no applause, no spotlight, no cheering crowds, just the quiet, patient push of life pressing upward, searching for the sun. That seed isn't loud, but it's alive. It feels the weight of dirt overhead, but it doesn't get discouraged. It knows that one day, all that pressure will help it break through, rising up where everyone can see. That's how spiritual growth works for the chosen. God does his best work in secret before revealing his masterpiece. There are people who carry a stillness inside that's not emptiness, but power at rest, like a lion waiting for the right moment to rise, or a mountain steady before the first light touches its face. When the world around you is full of gossip and panic, and everyone's got an opinion about where you should be or what you should do, there's a wisdom that chooses not to answer every rumor. That kind of wisdom watches, learns, and lets the noise pass by like wind over the water. The world gets loud, but the chosen learn how to listen deeper to the still, small voice of purpose God put inside them. You see, people may think your quiet is weakness because they don't understand the power of being still. While they're racing, chasing trends, and wearing themselves out to be seen, your spirit is building muscle, collecting truth one day at a time. Every night spent wondering if things would ever change was actually a season of roots going deeper, drawing strength from places no one else can see. There's something sacred about not having to prove yourself when you know what God has whispered to your heart. Then comes that moment, the one no one expects. It's like sunrise after the longest night, when the shadows start to melt and colors fill the sky. Suddenly, what was hidden is obvious. What was quiet becomes undeniable. It doesn't matter how long it took or who doubted you. When God says it's your time to shine, every force that tried to keep you down finds out just how wrong they were. People look around in surprise, saying, "Where did that come from?" They don't know you are rising in the dark, climbing one prayer at a time. You know, every promise God gives takes time. The world wants everything overnight, but the chosen understand that true power grows in seasons. Sometimes you had to lose things that felt important. Sometimes you had to watch doors close and listen as people walked away. But every loss, every tear, every lonely hour was fertilizer for the future God was building. Not a single moment was wasted. Every bit of pain was working for your good, shaping you for the next chapter. When folks said you were finished, God was just getting started. The same ones who counted you out are about to witness the greatest comeback story they've ever seen. Don't be surprised when people who ignored your struggle try to celebrate your success. Some folks only show up when it's time to shine, but God never left you in the dark. He was right there, shaping your story, preparing you for the day when your light would be too bright to ignore. There's a special kind of favor that follows people who don't quit. You kept showing up, even when nobody noticed. You kept loving, kept serving, kept believing. When every voice said it was pointless, you pressed on. And now, like a garden blooming after the rain, your life is about to overflow with blessings you couldn't earn, promotions you didn't expect, and miracles nobody can explain. That's what happens when you're faithful in the small things. God makes you ruler over much. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. Don't think it's strange when new opportunities start popping up out of nowhere. Doors you couldn't force open before are swinging wide. People who once looked down on you will ask how you made it through. You'll find yourself walking into rooms you only dreamed about, carrying a confidence you didn't have before. That's because you let God do His work in you. He never wastes a waiting season. You see, destiny doesn't run on man's clock. The world may try to rush you, label you, or set a deadline for your breakthrough. But when you're chosen, your timeline is set by heaven, not by human hands. Delay is not denial, it's preparation. The blessing that seemed late is arriving right on time, carrying everything you need and more. So when people ask where your strength came from, don't forget to tell them about the silent years, the prayers no one heard, the nights when you wanted to give up but didn't. Tell them about how God used every disappointment as a stepping stone, every heartbreak as a lesson, every betrayal as proof that you were made for more. They'll see the glory, but only you know the story. Your scars are turning into stars, and every trial is a chapter in the testimony that's about to inspire thousands. Let this be a word for the weary. Don't despise your season of hiding. The best things God does are underground first. When it's your moment to rise, you won't need to announce it. Your fruit will speak for itself. The very people who questioned your silence will be asking for your wisdom, wanting to know how you stood strong through it all. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Remember, the world honors those who bloom overnight, but heaven honors those who grow through storms. There's a difference between being seen and being significant. Anybody can make noise, but it takes a chosen one to change the atmosphere. Don't be afraid to walk quietly, to wait faithfully, to hold your peace when others lose theirs. Your stillness is not emptiness, it's preparation. And when the light finally breaks through, don't shrink back. Stand tall, knowing that you are the answer to prayers prayed generations ago. You are the living proof that God still chooses the overlooked, the underestimated, and the forgotten. Your sunrise is here, and it's brighter than you imagined. So get ready. Every seed you sowed in tears is about to come up as a harvest of joy. The years you spent in the shadow are turning into a legacy that will bless your children and everyone connected to you. Don't be surprised when your story lifts others out of despair, when your testimony gives them courage to trust God for themselves. That's how destiny works. The light that breaks through your life becomes hope for everyone still waiting for the sun. Some people think harvest is all about noise, about shouting louder, moving faster, and making a scene when storms hit. But real wisdom knows a garden grows in quiet, hidden places. Life is a lot like a farmer who listens to the land before he ever drops a seed. He knows that it's not the clamor of the crowd that brings in the crop, but the gentle hands that tend the earth, watching and waiting for the right moment. Just like a skilled fisherman doesn't thrash the water, he casts his line, sits still, and trusts the tug will come when the time is right. In this world, folks rush to be first. They scramble to plant, hoping that frantic energy will hurry their miracle. But the chosen know that destiny blooms for those who understand the rhythm of the rain and the quiet wisdom of the sun. They aren't fooled by empty promises or shaken by delay. There's a certain peace that comes from knowing your blessing can't be stolen by someone else's schedule. The one who keeps their hands steady, even when everyone else is digging in panic, is the one who gathers the harvest. Patience is a gift few want, but it's the key to true abundance. It's the difference between a wildfire and a fruitful orchard. One burns bright for a moment, the other feeds generations. While some look at calm and call it weakness, they don't realize calm is the mark of someone who has walked with God through too many seasons to be rattled by the weather. It's the quiet strength of a tree, rooted deep, unfazed by every wind that passes by. You see, every act of kindness, every handshake, every pause in the conversation, those are the seeds sown by people who understand the long game. They're not in a rush to see results because they know what's planted in faith will sprout in power. When others mistake your silence for surrender, they've forgotten that even the tallest oaks grow in silence for years before they touch the sky. When you live guided by something bigger than the moment, you begin to see life's moves in slow motion. You realize not every opportunity needs to be chased, and not every insult deserves an answer. Some victories are secured not by who's loudest in the room, but by the one who can wait out the storm, trusting that the sun is coming back around. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Think of patience as a kind of spiritual savings account. While others spend every ounce of energy reacting, you're depositing faith day after day, knowing there's a payoff that no thief can touch. Every unspoken word, every moment you held your peace instead of proving your point, is earning interest in heaven's bank. That's why, when the season changes, you find doors opening and opportunities falling in your lap, things you never had to chase, but that were drawn to you by the weight of your quiet integrity. Sometimes, life feels like a chess match where the opponent is all bark and bluster, slamming pieces around the board and taunting every move. But real strategy is the smile you keep hidden, the move you save until it's needed most. It's letting others believe they're winning while you watch and wait, lining up every piece for the victory God already promised you. In the end, the winner isn't the one who made the most noise, but the one who knew the board, studied the patterns, and moved with purpose, not panic. There's a beauty in not needing to rush, in letting the world spin while you remain unshaken. The garden doesn't bloom because the gardener demands it. It blooms because the seasons keep their promises. You can walk through storms with your head high, knowing you've got roots that go deeper than any drought. People might not notice the seeds you plant in secret, but when the fruit starts to show, even your critics will have to acknowledge something bigger was at work. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Let your patience preach louder than any argument. Let your silence be a testimony to the faith that holds you steady. When the time is right, what's yours will find you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And all those who doubted, who confused your peace for passivity, will witness a harvest too bountiful to be explained. Remember, strategy isn't just about making moves, it's about making moves that matter. Every conversation you walk away from, every deal you decline, every friend you hold at a distance is a decision planted for the future. You aren't missing out by waiting. You're setting up a breakthrough that can't be rushed, forced, or stolen. So take heart and hold steady. You're not late, you're not forgotten, and you're not overlooked. The quiet work you do in faith, the choices you make in secret, the prayers you whisper in the dark, these are the things heaven rewards openly. While others burn out in their rush, you're storing up blessing after blessing, destined to bloom in a way that only God could arrange. When the world finally sees the fruit of your patience, they'll realize you weren't behind at all. You were simply in a different season, being prepared for a glory that can't be imitated. You are the gardener who waited, the builder who measured twice, the dreamer who trusted the promise more than the pressure. Your moment is coming, and when it arrives, it won't be the noise that made you. It will be your faithfulness, your wisdom, and your willingness to trust God's timing over your own. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your spirit steady, and your heart open, because the greatest harvests always come to those who refuse to panic in the planting season, trusting that the God who began the good work will surely finish it in due time. Just as a river moves beneath the winter ice, silent, unseen, yet always flowing, there is a power within you that never pauses for what the world is plotting. Life's greatest force is often hidden below the surface, moving past the obstacles, wearing down the hardest stones, not with thunder, but with gentle, unstoppable persistence. The river doesn't need permission to flow. It carves its own path, and even when covered in silence, it carries life from mountain to valley. That's what real spiritual resilience looks like. Steady, unstoppable, not always noticed until one day it floods the landscape and changes everything in sight. All the while, others were busy locking doors and setting traps, thinking that if they could just keep you in check, their position would be safe. They drew blueprints for their defenses, whispered together in hidden places, building walls of suspicion and maps of how to block your path. What they didn't understand is that divine purpose isn't stopped by fences or cornered by schemes. No matter how high they built, no matter how many guards they posted at the gate, what's meant to flow will always find its way. You didn't move with loud proclamations or grand gestures. Instead, you let your spirit operate like the roots of an ancient tree, buried deep, impossible to uproot, drawing nourishment from places nobody else could see. While the world above fussed over appearances and short-term wins, your strength multiplied in the quiet, hidden soil. Every disappointment became fertilizer. Every closed door taught you to dig deeper, to stretch a little farther, until you were drawing life from the very heart of the earth. Those who watched from above thought you were finished, outmaneuvered, shut down. They mistook stillness for surrender, but they didn't know you were learning how to flow around their walls, gathering energy for the season when the river rises. There's a wisdom in not reacting to every stone thrown or every branch that blocks the way. You understood that being overlooked isn't a curse, it's a classroom. It's where you learn that what's invisible for a time becomes unstoppable in its season. The protection that kept you safe was never just physical. It wasn't about building thicker walls or hiding behind armor. It was the unshakable trust that your life had purpose, that no plan formed against you could prosper unless it was allowed to shape you for greater things. The light within you was kindled by something no hand could put out, and that fire burned brightest in the darkest corners. The world saw an ordinary person, but heaven saw a vessel being forged in the flame. When the plotters finally gathered their courage and launched their plan, expecting to find you vulnerable, they discovered the ground had shifted beneath their feet. Like a castle built on sand, their security collapsed the moment they tried to use it against you. Suddenly, their strategies crumbled and their alliances fractured, not because you fought back in the open, but because their foundation was never solid to begin with. When God's hand is moving in your life, even the earth itself refuses to cooperate with those who scheme against you. There comes a time when every hidden current becomes a flood, when the power that's been moving out of sight rises up and can't be denied any longer. In that moment, the tables turn, and those who thought they had the upper hand realize they never held the cards at all. Their whispers become confusion, their plans unravel, and the very ground they trusted gives way beneath them. Your breakthrough didn't come from out-muscling your adversaries or out-shouting your critics. It came from staying true to your calling, letting faith do the heavy lifting while you moved in silence day by day. You let God's wisdom guide your steps, even when the path seemed hidden or lonely. Every setback was a signal to keep going, to trust that the way would open up when the time was right. There's a special kind of victory reserved for those who don't need applause to keep moving forward. Your shield was never something you wore on your arm. It was something you carried in your heart. That quiet confidence, that steady resolve, that inner knowing that you were built for more than the world's small cages. That was the force that no storm could sweep away. And now, as the dust settles, the landscape has changed. Where once there were boundaries and barricades, you see open roads and new horizons. The river that moved unseen is now a mighty force, shaping valleys and feeding fields that will grow for generations. All the scheming and planning in the world can't stop what's been ordained for you. Let this be a reminder. You don't have to fight every battle in public or prove your worth to those who doubt. Just keep flowing, keep trusting, and let your faith be the undercurrent that shapes your life. There is no wall that can hold back a river set free, no plan that can uproot a tree with roots that touch living water. What's been hidden in you will break forth, not with a roar, but with the steady, undeniable power of destiny fulfilled. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as his mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. The world may build its fortresses and draw its lines, but the spirit that moves through you was made to rise, to overflow, to change the shape of everything it touches. Hold your peace, guard your hope, and keep moving in the direction of your calling. In the end, what's built on fear will fall, but what's planted in purpose will stand, stronger, deeper, and more fruitful than anyone ever imagined. Think of a dusty old attic, closed up for decades. Sunlight finally slices through a crack in the roof, revealing every cobweb, every forgotten secret, every bit of clutter left behind. That's what happens in a life blessed by divine clarity. The things that once hid comfortably in the corners suddenly have nowhere to run. In the realm of the spirit, the truth is like morning light pouring in through an open window. There's no argument strong enough, no explanation clever enough to keep the truth from rising. Once that light is invited in, everything false withers like paper left out in the rain. All the little masks people wore, all the careful stories they built up to guard their intentions, can't survive the touch of real illumination. People spend years rehearsing roles for an audience that was never truly watching. They become masters of the half-truth, the friendly handshake that means nothing, the deals struck over whispered words in empty hallways. But what's built on sand never stands when the wind changes. You've seen it time and again. Relationships propped up by what's convenient. Partnerships that last only as long as it serves someone's pride, all swept away the minute integrity steps into the room. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. There's a special power that comes from walking in honesty. When your life is aligned with a higher purpose, it's like having a lamp that can't be shut off, no matter how many hands reach for the switch. The schemes, the backroom bargains, the double-crossing that played out in the dark, all of it vanishes in the daylight of God's favor. People can talk a good game, but the truth has a voice that sings louder and longer than any rumor or accusation. You've learned, often the hard way, that not everyone who sits at your table is breaking bread with you in good faith. Some just want a seat close enough to grab what's yours when you're not looking. Their smiles are rehearsed, their words measured, their loyalty conditional. But time always tells. As the seasons turn, every fair-weather friend, every opportunist, every dealmaker hiding their hand is revealed. That's the blessing hidden inside betrayal. It exposes the difference between those who are for you and those who are just around you. The rules have changed. Imagine a racetrack suddenly transformed into a staircase. Those who ran in circles now find themselves facing steps they never knew existed. Life's gates, once locked, swing wide, and what seemed impossible is now within reach. The limitations that defined the old game dissolve, replaced by a vista so wide that former competitors can only watch in disbelief. Standing in this new world, it's clear that the former boundaries don't hold anymore. The rooms you once felt cramped in now feel like launch pads. The company you keep realigns itself without effort. Those who once fueled their lives from your self-doubt have faded to silence, while new hands offer support for the journey ahead. The entire environment transforms, reflecting back the power you've always carried. In history, there are moments when the expected winner falls, but your triumph isn't just an upset. It's a rewriting of the story itself. They staked everything on your failure and watched as every bet unraveled, their fortunes reversed, the myth of their invincibility shattered, while your legacy is set like a new cornerstone. Future stories will point to this moment as proof that the impossible happens. What happens now is more than a reward. It's a destiny fulfilled. The title isn't a crown worn for a season, but a torch passed through generations. Like a beacon that draws ships to safe harbor, your ascent becomes the sign that faith paired with vision can turn any storm into a rising tide. The world witnesses not just a winner, but a phenomenon, one who has moved beyond odds, beyond expectation, and established a new horizon for every soul watching.